Hey everyone, it's been a little while since the last video, so I thought I would jump back in with something hopefully a little bit more easygoing, which is a summer AI reading list. Not that you would be able to tell currently based upon the weather outside here in the UK that it is summer, but it is. There is a cloud or two covering us right now, but it's going to get better. And I suppose over the summer period, it's a good time to just slow down a little bit, and rather than just digesting what's going on in the world of AI through a constant stream of updates and model changes and all of the stuff that you see on LinkedIn, YouTube and TikTok, I thought I'd just give you something a little bit more slowed down, and that is a set of books that you can be reading over this summer weeks to maybe give yourself just a little bit more of a nuanced understanding of what's happening in the world of AI. Sometimes I think it's just important to slow down and talk about these things. So I'm going to give you a rundown. I've got a massive bank of books for us to talk about. Some of them are more AI, some of them are more innovation led, but here is my AI summer reading list. I'm just going to pause here for the thumbnail. Okay, let's start off with this one. This is a fantastic book, Patrick Dickson's How AI Will Change Your Life. I love this because he looks at AI through loads of different lenses. It's really digestible, loads of really short form chapters, including things like AI in marketing, which I'm sure many of you watching will care about, AI in travel and leisure, pensions and wealth management, literally every little industry that you could think of. This is the kind of book that I would recommend if you're a kind of I was going to say toilet seat reader, but you know, if you're perhaps on the tube or you've got a short commute, keep in your bag, read a chapter a day, you'll get through loads of changes in the world of AI, and just, I suppose, kind of helps you understand the world in the future. Patrick Dickson, fantastic futurist, British guy, well worth a listen to some of his stuff that's up on LinkedIn and YouTube. Go and Google him, find out more about him. So Patrick Dickson, How AI Will Change Your Life. The second book in my AI reading list is How to Think About AI by Richard Susskind, subtitled A Guide for the Perplexed. Had the opportunity to meet Richard a couple of weeks ago at the Missional AI Summit here in London. He's a Jewish man who is also got a most illustrious experience, as I think it says here, he's the Special Envoy for Justice and AI to the Secretary General of the Commonwealth. He's also President of the Society for Computer and Law. A lawyer by trade, but has basically written a very practical book about how AI is changing in the world and how it's going to change you. If you want a bit of a kind of short form history, if you want to think about how to leverage AI properly, and even some interesting thought around AI consciousness, then I really recommend Richard's book. Very thoughtful man, nice guy, highly recommend. I've mentioned this one before on the channel here, but if you are really trying to understand the way in which AI has been able to become possible, the way it's actually able to do what it does, this is a fantastic read by Nigel Toon, How AI Thinks, How We Built It, How It Helps Us, and How We Can Control It. So if you've been worried about kind of AI ethics from things like an alignment perspective, if you're worried about where AI is going to go and how do we kind of get a grip on our own thinking about it, this one is worth a read. Watch my previous videos for information about that. This one has been a while since I've read it. It's been around for a while. It's more of an academic book. It's The Age of Invisible Machines by Rob Wilson. And Rob is a really interesting kind of character. He's done a lot of work in the kind of automation space and the voice space, and in particularly a really good chapter in here on the ethics of experimental AI. So I would recommend that one. Age of Invisible Machines, if you want a kind of more academic perspective, worth looking at. Rob is one of the founders with Josh Tyson of OneReach AI, who've been in the voice and AI space for a while, so check that one out. An oldie but a goodie, I recommend this in every video I do, but Ethical Machines by Reed Blackman is probably the best work I've found out there on being really practical when it comes to AI ethics. I use Reed's model in here all the time when I'm talking about AI ethics out and about, particularly around the idea of AI for good and AI for not bad. And I think that you can just tell from my copy here, amount of like post-it notes and underlines and stuff there is in it, how much I rate this book. Thoroughly recommend. Reed's a nice guy. I've had a couple of LinkedIn chats with him in the past, and a couple of Zoom calls to kind of get to know him better. Runs a fantastic organisation looking at AI ethics. So if you need someone to help you with that, other than obviously calling yours truly, I would recommend Reed's book there. This is a new one. I'm going to admit I haven't got all the way through it, but I know a couple of people at the office at House are reading this, and it's Empire of AI by Karen Howe, Inside the Reckless Race for Total Domination. This is kind of more kind of biographical novel style story, but it's based in facts. Basically, she has been talking to many people who have been inside OpenAI over the years, and it's talking basically about how did OpenAI become this kind of dominant force in the AI landscape over recent months and years, and really interesting. She's a fantastic writer for The Atlantic, and has won, it says here, leads the Pulitzer's Center for AI, as written for the Wall Street Journal, a bunch of other places. I'm kind of getting through this one slowly, but only because it's really fascinating. I'm trying to kind of pay a lot of attention to what she's saying about it. Really good read on kind of how one of the biggest companies that affects so much of our lives is come about. Also, if you want a kind of companion story to this, Superintelligence, I don't have a physical copy of around, but it's also a very good read on how OpenAI became OpenAI. If you want a kind of much more starting place, and if you want to think particularly about entrepreneurship, work, and the effects of AI, you can go no worse than looking at Co-Intelligence, Living and Working with AI by, I think, probably the absolute goat at the moment of talking about AI, Ethan Mollick, from Wharton. Fantastic scholar, really interesting guy, and I just love the way that he writes, which is really easy to understand. He really is doing a fantastic work here on LinkedIn, sharing AI updates, testing lots of models, getting lots of early access to stuff. Thoroughly rate and recommend him, and this is kind of really good from the principles perspective. Some of the tech references in it are going to be out of date soon because it's been around for a little while now, but I think these kind of rules he has for co-intelligence, which is always inviting AI to the table, that's kind of rule number one. Be human in the loop, that's you and I being the human in the loop. Treating AI like it's a person but can tell what kind of person it is a really interesting nuance when you treat AI like a person. And basically assume that this is the worst that AI is ever going to be. I don't know if he was the one that came up with this phrase, but it's a phrase I hear all the time, and I often repeat, I agree with it. It is the worst it's going to be. That's why we have to get across this. It's really important. Anyway, so Ethan Mollick, Co-Intelligence, Living and Working with AI, a fantastic read. And then for those of you that may be interested in some of the spiritual dynamic of some of this stuff and how it's shaping our world, two topic experts that I would really recommend. This is a collection of essays about Christian ethics in a technological society, edited by Jason Thacker. Jason's from the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary in the US, and is a really fantastic set of essays in here by loads of really credible people, which kind of takes a religious and Christian look at how technology is shaping public life. So if you want to dig into some kind of meaty topics here around things like pornography banning, which is obviously very relevant at the moment with the age gating that's going on here in the UK, content moderation, digital marketplaces, and just kind of whether or not we should engage in the public square. These essays are really great. Really recommend them. Go and give that a read. And then my final recommendation, which to be honest, it might take you all of the summer to get through. As you can see from where I'm currently at in it, I'm only nearly finished the introduction. I already know that I'm going to be kind of wading through this book for the rest of the month. But this is a new book from Mr. John Lennox, Professor John Lennox, Professor Emeritus of Maths at Oxford, who I've had the opportunity to interview and be with a couple of times over the past year. He's just a thoroughly compelling person to spend some time with. I'll just take my ruler out there. This is called God, AI, and the End of History. Now, this is actually a kind of deep dive into the Book of Revelation and unpacking the Book of Revelation from the Bible, but compares a lot of what's happening in Revelation to some of the scenarios, the kind of apocalyptic scenarios that we hear a lot about in AI. And some of them he's leaning into, some of them he's dispelling so far. This is going to take me a long time to get through. I'm only, like I say, halfway through the introduction, which is actually a large chunk of the start of this book. I mean, that's the introduction already, and I'm underlining left, right, and centre. So goodness knows when I'll finish this, but hopefully I'll get some time off in the next couple of weeks to finish reading this. John Lennox's new book, God, AI, and the End of History. And if you've not had a chance to read John's previous book, 2084, which is a kind of riff on the whole 1984 number. he has recently published an update to that book, which is much more looking at AI and transhumanism and some of the moral and theological issues that arise from that. So if you're interested in those topics, then I thoroughly recommend going and getting John's recent book, 2084. But this is quite a tome. I'm not going to lie, John. You've done yourself kind of well here. But I mean, it is basically a walk through the whole of the Book of Revelation, looking at kind of AI and the kind of end time talks. So quite hefty, not for everybody, I'm sure, but I personally think it's fantastic. So go and have a read of this from John Lennox. Okay, that is a tour through your AI summer reading list. Let me know what it is you're reading, where you're kind of getting great information. Thoroughly recommend you checking these things out. If you would like me to put this together into a newsletter, then maybe let me know in the comments. I'll put that in the next edition of the Double Edge newsletter that usually comes out on Tuesdays. Look out for a new edition of that tomorrow. And if you've got any other suggestions of what we should all be reading, then please drop it in the comments below this video to recommend these things to others. I'm not getting a commission on these, but I'll happily put some links out there if people would want links to the Kindle editions or audiobook versions too. Yeah, thanks for being with me. It's been a while, like I say, since I've done any videos. We've been moving house, the summer's been busy, and I'm working on my own writing project, which I'll be able to share more about in the next couple of weeks, which is super exciting. So stick with it. Thanks for coming back around if it's been a while since I've seen you here. And yeah, if this type of stuff is useful, always please do drop a like and a comment below. I know it's the kind of overly said thing by people on the internet, but it does actually make a big difference to how far and wide these videos go. So let me know if that's useful, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay.